Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday. We hope you are doing well. We are excited for the final Ask the Staff of 2025, and we are very excited to welcome Breanna Caperton from Operation Homefront. She and Shandelle are going to discuss pretty much how our two organizations, oh my goodness, work together so that we can bring wonderful programming to our service members and their families. I'm going to turn my camera off and go on mute. And Breanna, I'm going to hand it over to you. When you are ready, you're just going to tell me next slide and we will advance them.
Next slide, I am ready. So hi, I'm Breanna Caperton. I've been with Operation Homefront for about 3 years and some change now. So here at Operation Homefront, we're here to build strong, stable, secure military and veteran families by improving their financial and emotional and social well-being, whether that's delivering our holiday meals, supporting expectant parents, honoring military children, or providing critical financial assistance. Operation Homefront does offer programs and resources to military families across the country year-round. So where I fall into that is I'm the boots on ground, so I help with the holiday meals and like the back to school brigades. Go ahead and next slide. So one of the ones that I really enjoy doing is our Star-Spangled Babies. So that's where we help expecting mothers or mothers if they've delivered within 6 months. We provide baby essentials to get them started on the right foot. So that's typically baby bundles where it's got diapers, baby wipes, onesies, teething tablets. So usually when you would do a baby registry, we try to shop that way. But we just help make sure that they're ready to go because sometimes this is their only baby shower that they're going to have. Sometimes they're in a different state that they have no family yet. So we're there to support them and kind of get them excited and ready and just spoil them and shower them with all the good that we can for there. So I'm in San Diego, so we typically do around 50 moms to make sure that they're ready to go. And that's one of my favorites, especially seeing the little babies and the little ones and their strollers with their moms. But go ahead, next slide. Back to School Brigade, this is where I actually found you guys were a big hit with our families. But our Back to School Brigade is an annual nationwide campaign that collects and distributes school supplies to eligible dependents of service members to help them start the new school year off on the right foot. So that's where we get the kiddos, their backpacks, their school supplies, their pencils, sometimes fun goodies. But yeah, that's what we do at the Back to School Brigade. And next slide. Holiday meals for military families. So this is where we understand the financial challenges of the holiday season. Sometimes the parents can be deployed or their families are wounded or veteran families, and we're committed to providing the help. So our holiday meals for military families is our way of saying thank you for your service and sacrifices that you've made for our country. Next slide. Big Wheels for Little Warriors. That's one of the rare events that we have, and I get to be a part of it, and I get to be planning in the background with my director, Emily. So we've been doing this since 1995. We partner with BAE Systems in Rancho Bernardo, and they've raised funds through personal contributions and campus events to support the children and military families in San Diego. What began as a small effort to collect just 5 bikes has grown into a local tradition with over 13,000 bicycles and helmets donations to families and the junior enlisted personnel. After partnering with the USO from 2001 to 2013, BAE System has begun collaborating with Operation Homefront to continue the meaningful annual programs. And this year, I believe we are doing 400 bikes in San Diego. Next slide. And how we work with you guys. This is where you guys are such a big hit. You guys get to come in and for back to school was when I first worked with you 3 years ago. You guys came in with your bus, which is beautiful and amazing, by the way. You guys hand out books to the age groups of the kiddos. They get to pick out their books. Sometimes you guys have fun bookmarks and other little swag, and the kids just get so excited. They get to go home and read a book. And when you guys do the baby shower, you do the smaller age limit books for the kiddos, where it's like the nursery books. And the moms get to pick it, and they get excited because they get to have books they get to read and bond with their little ones. And then the same with holiday meals. The kiddos get to get the books as well, and sometimes the parents will pick it out as presents and put it underneath the tree for the kiddos as well. So you guys are a huge hit for every event that we have. Next slide.
Ooh, I think this is where we take over. So, before we take over though, actually, no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and ask you this at the end. I was going back and forth. So right, you mentioned, Operation Homefront reaches out to us. Now, Breanna, before we get into that,
Yes.
and you mentioned, Operation Homefront is everywhere. Where exactly, or how many regions do you have? Because there's, you got the 50 states, so it's not just you who reaches out for something about every single state. So how many regions, or how is that decided and broken up?
So we have 6 regions. So my region specifically is Hawaii, California, Nevada, New Mexico, and Arizona. So we have my amazing boss, Amanda. She was actually a recipient of a book before she started working here with National or not yet. She started working for Operation Homefront, where she got to record her husband got to record the books for her kiddos. So that's what I enjoy, because I was a military brat myself. But we have 6 regions, so there's one of me in at least a few states. So there's 6 of me throughout all of the regions. So we plan the events. We typically do it for the bigger events with the junior enlisted families. We ask if you guys got books to support, and typically you guys will always say yes, and I love that. But there's one of us everywhere to help out.
Fantastic, fantastic. So building off of that, I hate to say one of you, when you or one of your coworkers in the different regions reaches out, I handle that intake and I say, when is your event? How many are you expecting?
Yeah.
And then I put all of that in a spreadsheet and I share that with Shandelle, who is our warehouse wizard. And so that's all I pretty much give her. Hey, the event is going to be on this day. We need to have this many books, and here's your shipping address. And Shandelle, I would love for you to kind of talk about your process when you see that request comes in, aside from going, oh goodness, she's at it again. What is it that your process looks like in ensuring that we have great books going out to all of these events?
Well, first I like identify what kind of event it is. If, for example, if it's, September or the end of summertime, if it's a back to school event, a holiday, Halloween themed, I try to find books that align with the event's theme. Like for example, I wouldn't send a chapter book, preferably to a baby shower. So that's more of the baby board books. I just want to make sure that the books that we're sending create a meaningful connection for the families that we're giving them to. Uh, from there, I organize and prepare the selected books for distribution to ensure each shipment matches the event. So just going back and forth, making sure that I'm sending the right books to the right event. And then from there, I would just kind of coordinate shipping with Breanna to ensure that I'm getting the books at the right address and the right event.
Fantastic. And nothing is just, because there's a lot that goes out. Which, speaking of, takes us to our next slide, where this is where Unite Through Reading has been able to partner with Operation Homefront. So Breanna mentioned that you're everywhere. You're in all of the states. While we would love to, we cannot support every single event that you guys have. But we put our literacy llama on the map and showed all the places that he has had a chance to go. And so Shandelle, I want to ask you, as someone who gets to ship books all the time, do you have a favorite location to send a book to? Or from this map, your favorite location? And you can't say California because you live there.
I was going to say California. I think it's kind of cool to send them to Hawaii. I think it's kind of neat because it's, far but close. We don't send, there's not a lot of events that we support out there, so just kind of expanding our reach out there is great.
And then Breanna, because you are in Region 6, you also have to pick a favorite place that we support that's not in your region.
I'm gonna say Nevada, just because I got to attend the Nevada event, and that event is huge. It's bigger than my San Diego. But a lot more of the kiddos showed up there to that event, and I got to see the kids and just how excited they got with their books and their bookmarks and how excited the parents were. So I'm gonna say Nevada, which happened to be in Las Vegas.
So you actually raise a great question because you said that the Nevada event was bigger than the California event. What has been the biggest event that Operation Homefront has put on? Not like all of the back to school events combined into one, but one event that had the most attendees. Do you happen to know that?
At least for my region, Region 6, I'm gonna say Nevada, they did almost 600 kiddos attended that event. So I would say Las Vegas was the biggest one that I got to attend, which I was lucky, and the one that I had seen in my region.
That's insane. But you know what? I love that you guys do it. And, backtracking where you said, the Star-Spangled Baby shower, you're making sure that new moms to be have things that they need. And I actually want to ask you if you wouldn't mind kind of sharing a little bit more about the items that you offer and how you're able to provide them. Because I know, like
Yeah,
us, you're also a nonprofit.
yes. So we are lucky enough, at least in San Diego, we have a donor that is a reoccurring donor, that he loves to make an impact in the San Diego community. We also have donors who reach out and we're like, hey, would you like to sponsor certain amount of items? So we had another donor buy all of my baby wipes and all of my diapers. But we do send out surveys after every event that we host. So I take him, I go through the surveys and see what moms are expecting, what they're wanting, what they don't like. So when I'm ordering for the next year, I do take that into consideration and I do a lot of research on the internet. What do expecting moms look for? Because I'm not a mom yet. And I talk to my friends, but it's always the diapers, the diaper cream, the baby wipes. Those are usually the most expensive. So if I can kind of take that financial burden off, those expecting moms, that's my goal, and that's what I try to do. But when I do host the baby shower as well, I make it as much as a baby shower. I do games, I do diaper raffles, I do everything so that way they go home with a bunch of goodies and they feel just so loved and so showered. Because I've had moms come up to me and hug me and say that this is the only baby shower they've ever had. Someone said that they're in a new state, they don't have their family. So being able to help them and just see how excited they are, just that makes my hard work and my day just so much better.
Okay, so now I'm like, I'm not emotional, but that was super sweet. But I have to ask, because you had mentioned in your area that it's typically for 50 moms to be or new moms. Is that
Yeah.
kind of the standard across the regions, or do they get much larger?
They can be larger. I know there's a couple of states that do. I think, well, they'll do 50 moms and then they'll host for the spouses. So the event will hold about 100 people. So it just all depends again on the donor funding, the venue, and all that. There's a lot of moving pieces that go together into planning the baby shower. But they do get bigger than 50 moms, that is for sure.
And is it something where you host your baby shower, but it's, for California, it's only in San Diego, or could it be multiple events in one state? Because,
So
like looking at Texas, that's kind of big.
yes. So I go through a certain radius because San Diego is one of the bigger military cities. So I go from San Diego to Camp Pendleton. That's a 75-mile radius. But you can have, if you've got the funding with the donor funding, you can have as many baby showers in one state as you want. So Kia did partner with us for an LA baby shower. So they bought everything for that event. And I got to attend that one as well because I'm not that far. And it was amazing, just seeing how the donors get excited and how involved they want to be. And I just love working with my community and giving back, and just seeing donors get as excited as me just is amazing. And just seeing the moms get showered with love and all the goodies, and how they're having to use carts and dollies to take everything to their car because they've gone home with so many goodies.
My first Operation Homefront event was a baby shower. It was in Delaware. Um, and they had some extra materials. I got a diaper bag and I came home with it. And my husband looked at me and was like, "Do we need to have a talk?" I'm like, "No, I just really, really liked it." But as I started attending the baby showers in New Jersey, and I blanking on the name, but the gentleman was there and gave cribs to everybody, cribs and the crib mattresses. And I was like, that's just the generosity that I see at your events is absolutely phenomenal. But I do want to talk about the back to school brigade because I think for us this year, especially, this was the event we supported or the umbrella event we supported the most, meaning there was throughout the country the most that was there. And I know that it's backpacks and some paper and some pens. I think when I helped to stuff the bags, I put highlighters in.
Yeah.
But this is available for all school age. It's not just elementary.
Yes.
You offer this to kids no matter their age.
Correct. So it is kindergarten through 12th grade. And we do typically kind of divide it because we know certain grades are different. So at least in region 6, we'll do K through 6 and then 6 through 12, just because then we know the older kiddos require different things. They don't all need markers and crayons. We make sure we do. And again, for this, we do the surveys to make sure that we're staying up to date with what the kiddos need, what the teachers are wanting. But I was a military brat, like I've said earlier. So I know watching my mom try to make sure we had school supplies and backpacks for me and my brother while my dad was out to sea and we're in a foreign country. So being able to see how excited the kiddos get with a filled backpack, sometimes with additional goodies, it just makes it worth it because I saw my parents struggle. So if we can help take that financial burden and not see the kids see their parents, kind of struggling to see what they can get, we just make sure that they get everything that they need so they start the school year off on the right foot.
Definitely. And so you mentioned, you and your brother. So this is not just one family gets a backpack. So if a family has 4 or 5 kids, they can each get a backpack with school items.
Yep. They will so I have some families that have 5 to 6 kiddos, and each kid will get a backpack, and sometimes they're fighting over the same color, but each kiddo will get a backpack and their school supplies based on their grade level.
And that is exactly what you said, a huge help because, buying schools, back to school shopping is my most favorite thing to do. I love school supplies. I am a nerd and I am self-proclaimed. And my husband said we would not be friends in school, but that's okay. But that's exciting that each kid gets to have their own school supplies. And it's not, well, we bought a pack of 20 pencils, so here's 2 for you, here's 2 for you. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you guys are coming up on your holiday meals for military. I know a couple are getting ready to take place. The event here in Alaska is happening tomorrow. And this is something, when I was promoting this Ask the Staff session, all of the events are worthwhile, but given the current situation, I don't think that this event could be more timely. And exactly what it says here, where you understand the financial challenges. I think it's just absolutely amazing. And I've been to a few holiday meal events where it may be a gift card or it may be food items that are being provided. Is there a way that you decide what is offered, or have things shifted and now it's standard across the board?
It all varies region by region. Every region and every event has the survey, so it all varies. Some people will do half of a gift card. Some will do some food like the dry food, so it doesn't go bad. Sometimes we'll have donors donate food kits. And so if we, like for San Diego, or no, it's actually LA, we planned on doing a gift card, but we had a donor want to donate chili kits. So every family is going to go home with a gift card, a chili kit. We've got board games for them. We've got cookie kits for them. So it's how much the community gets involved, and the surveys is a big part, what the families are looking for, and what they would prefer. So I really take the surveys to heart and make sure I'm giving back to these families what they want because they're doing so much for me.
You make a really good point there. And, we kind of alluded to it when we say we support your event with books, but it's not just meals. You mentioned board games or the cookie kits or something else. And so, I have been to the events where there's been other folks there who are giving out stuff in addition to what your event is. And so I greatly appreciate the work that you do for the community, but how you work with the community for the greater good and make sure that everyone has everything that they could need. And, by you saying, you pay attention to the surveys, you read through them, you make sure everyone is seen. And I think that's just absolutely phenomenal. And I'm excited about I'm excited and I'm jealous. The big wheels for the little warriors, because I've heard about it, and when I was pulling up some pictures and looking through your photo albums, I'm like, man, that's a lot of bikes.
Yes.
And so is this the same as with all of your other events, that it's open to the children who need it? Or is
Yes.
it you have to be a certain age, or how do you decide who gets to apply for that?
So it's the junior enlisted, and then it's the kiddos as long as they're within, I think it's like 3 to 4 years old, because that's when they can start riding a bike, all the way up to 18 years of age. So when they register, they get to say the size of the bike they want for each kiddo. So the parents are determined. Sometimes these are gifts, so the kids have no idea that they're going to get a bike. So it's on the website. So when the junior enlisted military families are registering, they will say what size bike, boy or girl, and then they also have an option to say if they want the bike built, so assembled or unassembled. So that's an option as well. So sometimes these parents are coming in and they're going to build the bike for Christmas morning for the kiddos. And sometimes the kiddos get to come and see their bikes. And I think that's my favorite part is the kids are in the car because they're like, mom and dad just dragging them somewhere and they have no idea. And the moment they see their bikes and their helmets, it's just so exciting. And I love attending this event. I get to help out every once in a while, but I've attended a handful of these events, and it's probably one of my other favorite events to do.
And so is this event kind of similar to your others, maybe with the exception of the baby shower where you have it at 50? How do you decide how many registration slots are open for the back to school, for the holiday meals, and for the big wheels?
So for we do a lot of like the funding off of donors. So come January, we're actually planning out our whole year, seeing budgeting wise how much we have to raise. So we have a goal in mind, and since San Diego is one of the bigger ones, it's one of the higher numbers out here. And then since the Big Wheels for Little Warriors is off of BAE Systems, and they know what we're hoping to aim for and how many bikes we're wanting to get. So they've got that money that how much they need to raise. So they've got their eye on the prize to get to there. So again, it's the community coming together, us raising money, doing grants, and kind of just working in our community. So we plan our year in January, and we usually execute how many we can do. Sometimes we can do more because we got more donor funding than we anticipated. So January is when we plan, and then mid-year when we look at our budget, how many families we can help.
That's fantastic. I love everything about it. And I absolutely adore the fact that you said for this event, especially, parents can decide if they want the bike assembled or not, because I would 100% be asking to have it assembled. I don't want to mess with it. So I think that's super fantastic. One thing I want to talk about is how we work together. And this photo is actually pretty great. That's one of our volunteers, and something I have noticed at a lot of the Operation Homefront events, and of course the events that Unite Through Reading do, is that our organizations rely very heavy on our volunteers to help our missions to be successful. And so the certificate here, we had a handful of volunteers at that event. The photo itself is a Texas event. And so we work to have a volunteer to be able to attend your events, to hand out the books and interact with the families. But do you want to talk to us about your volunteers? Because I know you also have your volunteer reserve. I think after 7 years, I had to finally let go of my Operation Homefront volunteer shirt, but I wore it with pride.
Yes. Since It's just me, and I cover all of California by myself. There's no way I can do it all by myself, although I wish I could have the superpower to be at all of my events. I cannot. We have team captains who run events for the ones that I can't attend. So take, for instance, Travis Air Force Base. I have an amazing team captain who is basically a clone of me running the event, and they are a volunteer. And then for me, I cannot run a whole event helping out for my holiday meals, 400 families. I have volunteers who are helping greet, handing out the items, who are helping walk to the car, taking these items. I have volunteers who help build my kits because I can't build 400 kits by myself, even though I have tried. So we have volunteers who help out behind the scenes. They're in front of the lines with us. Our volunteers who are our team captains running the events for us. I am truly grateful to have as many volunteers as I do because there's no way I can have successful events without them.
That, and I have been to your events when you talk about you have folks setting up, and I have been there when I arrive as I'm supporting it, but folks have been there long before I have, and all of the signage goes up, the arrows
Yes.
directing to help direct traffic, tables have been moved, if it's outdoors, canopies assembled, and it's just phenomenal.
Yes.
And I've been to the backpack stuffing event, if you will, and to just see the assembly line, and it's phenomenal to witness. And I kind of want to transition a little bit as we talk about our volunteers, and that is to, once I get it to move, to ask Shandelle where, at our warehouse, I think the other day she said to me, "Oh yeah, I was getting 3,000 books shipped out for something." And Shandelle, in the volunteer spirit, do you want to talk with us about how you have our volunteers help you out in the process of doing what needs to be done?
Yeah, well, we receive the books from wherever we ordered them from or where they're donated. And from there, we have to place our sticker on there so it reminds people to get those recordings um, through the app. So I usually take a bunch of books and I have a group of volunteers. Right now, I'm working with a retired community called Grannies Not Nannies and Off Your Rockers, and they will come once a month and sticker like 4 to 5,000 books for me. It's a group of 6 or 7 of them, and they kind of just sit down and chat and get the stickering done. So that's really essential because otherwise I'm stickering those books or other staff members are stickering the books. So it's really helpful to have them.
And I do very much love the groups that come to help you. The names that they have given themselves is just, it makes me smile every time you mention them. So yeah, so you use volunteers to help put the stickers on the books. They sort, they put them in the boxes, they get them ready for shipping. And then how do all of those books get shipped out? Like, do you schedule a USPS pickup, or are you taking everything to the post office?
I take everything to the post office. It's just easier that way. I have a relationship with the postman and he takes me to the loading dock and we unload the books and he sends them off.
Shandelle, the shipping wizard. You're the warehouse wizard and the shipping queen. And the before I get to opening up the floor for questions, because that is our final slide here, again, just highlighting all of the areas that United 3D has been able to support the Operation Homefront events. And that was a mix of the baby shower, the back to school, the holiday meals that you have going on. And again, even though there may not be our literacy llama in every state, Operation Homefront is offered in every state. There's an opportunity. And I know it's not exactly your domain, but where New England is there, and that's where I call home, if you will. That's where I grew up. Do you know, and if you don't, that's okay, because I didn't tell you I was going to ask this one. Is it a goal of Operation Homefront to have an event in every state, or at times will they kind of do a tri-state area where, because it's a small enough area that they're just going to kind of lump it all together?
I am not 100% sure. I mean, I know we would love to grow and touch as many states as possible. I think it does vary again on donors and where the most of the military families are, like the bases and stuff. I do know that they try, since there are smaller states over there, they can kind of put them together, but I'm not 100% sure how everything runs on their side. But I know we would love to be in every state. That was the personal goal of mine, honestly.
I hear you. I relate 100%. I have done a lot of talking, so I know that we do have some guests joining us, and so I'd like to open up the floor to see if they have any questions they'd like to ask. I've got a few more, but again, I've kind of been monopolizing the conversation. So invite those on the call if you'd like to come off mute and ask a question, or put it in the chat box. We can address it that way. But would love to hear what you have to say. No one wants to be the first. So I'm gonna ask the question that we talked about before we started. You've been doing this for a while. You've attended many events. What do you think your favorite moment has been?
Um, I'm gonna say my last baby shower. I had a mom come in. She was already crying because she was just so overwhelmed and so excited. And she came up to me and she was like, "Can I give you a hug?" And I'm like, "Of course." And just how honest and just how real she was. She was like, I didn't think I was ever gonna get a baby shower, let alone it actually be like a real baby shower where I get to play games. And she's like, you guys are spoiling me. So my hard work, because I do put a lot of planning and my own blood, sweat, and tears to every event that I do because it's my joy. But I would say the baby shower where the mom came up to me and was just crying. She was just like, you have no idea. I'm in a state that I don't have family. I didn't know where to start, and you guys set me up because they went home with pack and plays too. Every mom went home with a pack and play. But I would say that would probably be my highlight, and I was like, this is why I do what I do.
I love that. I love that. Shandelle, kind of same question for you. Now, granted, you haven't attended an Operation Homefront event, but as someone who ships the books out to make sure they get everywhere they need to go, do you happen to have a favorite moment?
Um, Kind of, I think it's kind of fun sorting through the titles. Sometimes we ask for a variety just for like a back to school event. There's no specific holiday themed book that we need to send. So I get to pick and choose when I'm able to various titles to send. And so it's kind of fun getting a nice little variety in there.
I did see we had a question in the chat, which is absolutely phenomenal. How can people support Operation Homefront?
So we do have operationhomefront.org where you can see like volunteer options. We also do have a website called Digital Cheetah. That's how we reach out and communicate with our volunteers. And they will, so when it comes to Digital Cheetah, we put every event that we have into a calendar. And if the volunteers registered within that radius, they can sign up and then they can help with the event as well. But there's many ways. Some people will get my email off of operationhomefront.org. Email me, how can I help you? How can I help with any of it? So there's many ways to get to help us out, but I would say Digital Cheetah and operationhomefront.org are our main point of contacts.
And do you welcome volunteers, whether they're military or civilian? You welcome them all?
I welcome them all. I mean, my team captains are either spouses of military. I do have a bunch of younger kiddos who are in middle school and high school wanting to give back. I mean, if they are passionate and helping, I'm always saying, come my way. But I will take civilians, military. I need the help all the time, so they can always come and help me at my events.
I hear you on that one. Shandelle, the next question is for you. How many books do you think you've sent out this year?
In overall or just to Operation Homefront events? That is a great question.
Do you think you would know the difference or be able to split the difference? And we
I
should
don't think
also add, Shandelle has not been with us this entire 2025. So she jumped in right as the chaos was starting and she took charge. She never looked back and she just made it happen.
Yeah, I would say I'm at like 50,000 books maybe since starting halfway through the year. 40 maybe.
That's amazing. I am going to stop sharing my screen just because we have on here unitedreading.org or military at UTR if you've got questions. We've got operationhomefront.org and Breanna Caperton at operationhomefront.org. But I want to do this so I can see everyone because questions have been coming in the chat and I want to make sure I don't miss them. And Catherine, I do see your hand raised, so I'm going to be quiet and let you ask your question.
Okay, great. Thanks. Um, I just had a quick question about Brianna. What do you think? I mean, United Through Reading, we love giving out the books. The next step to supporting these families is keeping them connected with our video recordings. What's the feasibility, or have you had events where you've off been able to offer not only the free books but the recordings at your events? Or is that not really something that's I mean, I know you guys do a lot of drive-through events, but I was thinking like the baby showers, and you mentioned the mobile story station was out at an event, and I was just curious, did you host events where we make recordings for the service families as well there?
So I'm hoping to do that at my next one of my next events, just because we have had a lot of drive-throughs. When I started, it was in 20, it was when everything was basically still coming off of the pandemic. So this was my first year doing an in-person back to school event, and it was a hit. The moms, I mean, the parents loved it. My survey said so. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to do the recordings at one of my next events because my manager Amanda, who couldn't make it on the call today, she has the recording still because her husband's active in the military. And when she told me about it, I was like, I want something like that for my families. So I'm hoping to do that in the future just because she talks about it all the time when she talks about United Through Reading. And I want to give my families that. So I know my San Diego events are a little bit bigger, but I'm hoping to probably do it in one of my smaller ones where they have more time to record these books. Even if it's
Yeah.
the baby shower ones, just because I know the dads or the moms get deployed, so that way they can still have that connection with their parent. So that is something that I'm really hoping to do.
Oh yeah, I think that's great. I think that just elevates the game a little bit more for them too. So I'm glad to
Yes.
hear that there that's a possibility and that you're looking into that.
Yes.
I'm excited, and I'm going to remember that as we move forward. We talked about how folks who are interested can support Operation Homefront, and I would be remiss if I did not say United Through Reading also loves our volunteers and the ways to support. So volunteers can come on board, help sticker the books, they can attend the events, help us to get those recordings. Financially, you and I both get it that it's awkward to ask for money, but kind of makes the world go round. But we do have an Amazon wish list. So if folks would like to be able to purchase some of the books that we send out, United Through Reading has an Amazon wish list. I'm going to ask Melanie, who kind of handles all that. Would you be willing to put that in the chat, or do they just go to Amazon and search a wish? I've never searched for someone's wish list. So if you can put that in the chat of how that's someone's able to do that, I'd love to add that. But Shandelle, when you're looking for folks to help sticker books, what is your process on that?
I kind of just go off email. I email our volunteer list, like our local volunteer list here in San Diego, and just hope for replies. I reach out to different groups like the Grannies Not Nannies, who tend to volunteer for a lot of nonprofits. So I just kind of find people that are looking to volunteer their time.
And because I've been part of, I've been able to witness, I won't say the madness, but the speed. What do you think the record is? Like, what amount of books stickered in what amount of time?
I think this last event that Crystal and I hosted with the Off the Your Rockers group here in San Diego, we had 5,000 books stickered in 2 hours by 9 volunteers, and they were speedy.
It's amazing. It's amazing because you try and have this great big window, and then you're like, oh, I don't know what to do for the rest of the 4 hours that I have you here. Melanie has put in the chat for anyone who is interested where our Amazon wish list is. So thank you for doing that. Shandelle, Breanna, is there anything else that you want to add? Something that we didn't cover that we really need to make sure we talk about? Anything I missed? Like I said, I wrote down questions, but
No, I think nothing on my end.
I was going to say nothing on my end, but if you have more questions, I'm always willing to answer more for you.
I was looking at it, I was like, I think I got everything. Well, we did talk about your favorite moment at the baby shower of the three events that Operation Homefront does throughout the country. So again, I know the Big Wheels is more of a localized. is the baby shower your favorite, or does the back to school brigade or holiday meals kind of edge it out?
I am gonna say the holiday meals is my favorite, just because we get to have Santa there. We do letters to Santa. It's like my little personality gets to come out. But I think it's one of my favorites because a lot of the kiddos come, and I just get to see the parents just how relieved and like that financial burden, even just for that moment, has been lifted. And that I think is my favorite part because I was a military brat. I saw my mom struggle when my dad was deployed. Christmas items got cut. So however I can give back and, just give back in my community and just make a difference, that would be my favorite, just because I get to be more creative and my personality comes out more. And holiday meals, back to school is amazing, don't get me wrong, but it's, backpacks and school supplies, and I love my papers and my pens, don't get me wrong, but I get to be more creative for the holiday meals. So the holiday meals is my favorite. So mine is actually next week, and I'm very excited to do it.
Fantastic. Going to open it up one last time for anyone to come off mute or throw a question in the chat. And if there's nothing there, we'll give it that 30 seconds of awkward silence. We will adjourn and say thank you so much for joining. I appreciate those who came out, and I know it's going on 7 o'clock on the East Coast, so some of you are doing this in addition to getting ready for dinner or getting the kids ready for bed. So I appreciate you joining. We do have a couple volunteers on this call, so I wanted to say thank you to those for attending, but also for being rock star volunteers for United Through Reading. And because I know I recognize a volunteer on here, for showing up at the Operation Homefront events and helping us to support them. Breanna, we thank you so much for joining us. Have the most wonderful time there in Nevada. Enjoy your event tomorrow, and we wish you safe travels back to California when the time comes.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for what you guys do. It is amazing. And I know personally, when I do my surveys, the books are always a hit.
I love to hear that. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. We wish you a very wonderful evening. Here in Alaska, it's snowing, and I'm going to go outside and play in it. So everyone have a great night, and we will see you all online. Bye.